You're watching Fairfield Public Access Television, Channel 9, and this is our special series, Fairfield 25th on the 25th. Today we have with us Jerry Long, who is Chairman of Public Safety, and Vivian Hammes, who is ahead of the Shuttle Committee, and Don Raymond, who is with law enforcement, of course. And we're here today to talk about everything that's going on, the preparations, and the final details of RAGBRAI's visit to Fairfield on July 25th. So we have lots of meetings, and we're down to the countdown, less than a month. And Jerry, what has your committee been doing?
The Public Safety Committee has two responsibilities. One is traffic control, and then the other one is emergency plans. We've been working pretty closely with Don Raymond on the traffic control part of it. And then I guess also with Don on some of the emergency plans. And when I'm talking about emergency plans, it would be like a tornado type situation.
Now, do they have specifics to follow as far as a plan, or is that something that's generally set in a city anyway?
Each city for the traffic control is different because you never know which way the bike routes are coming in or going out. But then on the emergency plan, they require us to have a plan, and it's been submitted to the RAGBRAI people at the Des Moines Register, but every one of those is somewhat different also. Okay. Because there may be shelters available near the campgrounds and there may not be.
What has been some of your obstacles that you've had to deal with?
I think the hard part has been when we got the committee together the very first time, the route had already pretty well been chosen into town by the RAGBRAI people. And it comes in on the south side of town, and in a way it's not very centrally located. So that's been a little bit of a challenge. The information area is out at the middle school, but our campgrounds are at Chautauqua Park and out at the fairgrounds. So we get everybody kind of into the middle school, and then we've got to get them dispersed back out downtown to the entertainment and out to Chautauqua Park.
So the routing around of town, you have to deal with all the safety features of maybe intersections and...
Something a lot of people don't think about is the bicycle or the intake grates. Our committee had to go around and look at each intake that's along the route, and some of them have the bars going parallel to the bicycles. And they say that a lot of times the bicyclists will be giving high fives to the people along the route that are out there watching and not looking down, and their front wheels will drop into one of those intake grates. So we went out and had to find all of those so that they can be barricaded off by the Ride Right Committee the day of the
And how do they barricade them off? They're actually...
Well, I'm not sure what they're going to do. The suggestions were to put plywood over them, put a piece of carpeting, heavy carpeting over them, or possibly just an orange traffic cone to alert the rider.
And so were there very many of these?
Yeah, I think there was like 34.
On the route?
Not on the main route, but on the route to Chautauqua Park and downtown.
Okay. I guess I haven't ridden a bicycle in a while to know about those. For the last 25 years we've been using bicycle safe grates in town, and they have diagonal bars so that you can just ride right over the top of them and be safe. So these are located in older
parts of town.
Parts, okay. And Shuttle, I know that you've been working with everybody in organizing the Shuttle, and tell us how that's going.
Better now. We've only had to change routes about 4 times.
4 times, and
because having to meet with both safety and law enforcement, we found some places that were not safe, so we changed the routes then.
Okay.
And so that the bicyclers are going to have a safer time. We have color-coded our buses so that we have, and I can show you up here.
Yes, we have a map here with our route.
And we have them, of course, going all 4 directions. The one south is called the blue route, and that will come this way. and it will stop at the places where there is going to be food served. This is the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, the Eagles. Comes back and goes down Iowa Avenue now, not Fillmore, but Iowa, because Fillmore is sectioned off for the bikers.
For the bikers, yeah.
And then we will have for O.B. Nelson here, and then we will have for the junior high here. These are all bus stops.
This is the big part of RAGBRAI right here, the information center and everything.
Right up here. So these people will just walk down one block to get the bus.
Okay.
And so that they can go someplace. Then over at the Pence School, and then back all the way down, and we keep going back down to the square, of course, each route. North, of course, would go by St. Mary's Church, and then out to MUM, I mean, and then back down again, and then back to here. East, it goes, let's see, it goes up this way, down Main, and across, because we have to go by the St. Gabriel Church. Then down to Chautauqua, which will have stop here, in high school, which will be a stop. We come this way, and then we go stop here for the Methodist Church, and then back out here. We are not going down here because it's too hard to get out on B Street, so we go back to C to come out. And then when we go out west, of course, we go all the way to the fairgrounds, and then come back out, go by the indoor swimming pool, and then all the way back down, and then back to the square. And our point is always the square.
With the south side of the square being the pick-up and drop-off?
Yes, it certainly will. And they can go on any bus that they so choose. It will cost them a fee of $2. They will have their hand stamped. Then they can ride any bus, any place, all day long.
And this is for the bicycle riders?
Right, for the bicycle riders.
Now, I think there has been talk about volunteers.
Now, the volunteers will get to ride it because they will have special armbands, wristbands, and they will be able to go on any bus to wherever they're volunteering. One thing that we are doing also is that we are having 2 people at each station. We will have 8 stations of selling the hand stamps. And there will be 8 stations, so this is why I need volunteers. And I need about 50 volunteers, so we have a good start. We have about 35, but we still have more volunteers, so anybody that would like to call in, you could call me, 472-5752, and I'll be glad to put you. This is a good volunteer job because you are going to sit down behind a table, and there will be 2 at each table. So you will have company, 1 to take the money and, of course, 1 to stamp. We are going to start at 9:30 in the morning, and we will have 1 school bus going out west and 1 south, so that we can, these are going to be our busiest routes, we feel. And then that will increase as the day gets longer, and there will be 4 buses going each way by 1 o'clock, and so that's 16 buses a total, all at one time going.
16 buses.
Now, we plan on running them at 15-minute intervals, but the traffic.
We don't know what to expect.
No. Traffic congestion, I think, is what we'll call it. We will have also, I want to say that the hand stamps were donated to us by the Cedar Creek Stamp Company, and that was very nice of them. Also, we are selling advertisements on our bus. If you are a vendor of some sort, whether it's food or a non-vendor, a non-food vendor, and you would like to do more advertising, we have a fee schedule, and you make your own sign, legal size paper. You do all the printing, and I will put it on the bus. For 4 ads, 1 going each way, it will cost you $25. We have had some people give us 16 ads for their thing, which was $100. So this is a good way that people are on this bus. They see your ad, oh, that sounds good, and then we tell them how to get there.
Now, when Jim Green was just here at our meeting this morning, he thought that was a very innovative idea. So that's great. Great thinking and planning, Vivian.
It's a little bit more money for the chamber.
Yes, every little bit helps out.
Right.
And so back to the volunteers, you do need volunteers.
Yes.
If you have a friend that you'd like to spend some time with and see what's going on and enjoy the day, I think this would be a great job.
They're going to find that here's the spot where you're going to see everybody that is at that end of town, and it's really going to be, I think it's going to be nice.
And Jerry, I know you need volunteers.
Vivian got her plug in before me. I should have been quicker. But yeah, we're going to have all of the main intersections along the main bicycle route into town will be barricaded, and we'll need volunteers to man those barricades, to staff those. Our plan is that we'd like to find someone who lives near those corners to
I thought that was a good idea.
And that way they would know their neighbors and they would know who lives along their street, and could be more effective in helping them get to their home while the riders are on the route. Has the route been well publicized?
Well, I don't think it hurts to go over it. And so if you're living on the route and you think you'd have some time to give, that'd be great.
We, if the main person that lives near the intersection would agree to be in charge of that intersection, we're going to have a training meeting the week of the 14th. And then if that person, if they wanted to do 4-hour shifts out there, watching the riders come by, they would only take 3 shifts. But if they wanted to do 2-hour shifts, it might take like 6 different people to...
Now, do you have an age that you're looking for?
I think that because of the responsibility and the safety issue, that we'd like to keep it at least high school age and above. I'll just run through the route real quick. The main route comes in on Glasgow Road, comes into Madison. At this intersection, we plan on having a barricade so that people cannot go on up to the Highway 34. This intersection, even though it would be an easy way to get to Chautauqua Park, is a blind intersection, and it's just too dangerous. So the main route into town turns on Glasgow and comes on Madison to Park, turns south on Park to Fillmore, and straight across Fillmore to the middle school, which is the main information area. That particular route is actually signed by RAGBRAI the morning of the ride. They come into town and put up some signs, although I know a lot of the other committees are doing a lot along that route also. But then, as I said, we get everybody to this area, and not all of them are going to be staying there. This is where they have to check in. This is where they come and get information about food services, emergency services, where to get baths and showers. But from there, they need to get back to Chautauqua Park or out to Jefferson County Fairgrounds or downtown to the entertainment and food court and beverage court.
Now, it was stressed at our meeting this morning by Jim Green that everyone must go to the information center at the middle school. Now, then they will bike?
Yes.
Bike to where they're camping.
Yeah. And so we felt some of the other routes will be signed, but there won't be barricades. Once the people get to the information center, that actually ended our committee's responsibility, but then we've taken it on ourselves to try to provide a safe route to Chautauqua Park, for example. And there, they'll come down Fillmore to 2nd, down 2nd to Madison, across Highway 1 on Madison, there where the traffic signal is, over to D, and then across Highway 34, where again we have a traffic signal, to Broadway, and then Broadway right on out to Chautauqua Park.
Okay.
To get to the fairgrounds, we'll be going down 6th Street to Jefferson, and I can't find, there's Jefferson, out Jefferson to 23rd, 23rd up to Highway 34, and then we've got to get them along Highway 34 to the fairgrounds.
Now, is that going to be a difficult area?
Well, with the cooperation of the DOT, I think we've got that solved. The south lane, which would be the eastbound lane of Highway 34, is going to be closed to traffic that day. Okay. We'll be using barricades, and so the traffic can come right out, stay in this south lane, right down and right into the fairgrounds. So the bicycle traffic is going to have a pretty safe and easy route in and out of the fairgrounds.
Okay. Now I know that there were some members, committee members, that did hand out some flyers this weekend to residents on the route. There's some big concern on if they can get home, and yes, they can get home.
That has been a major concern.
Tell us more about plans. Are there any specific plans, or what have we asked residents to do?
The approach we've taken with the residents is to recognize that it's a safety issue, that with them driving cars, with all of, I mean, we're talking 25,000 extra people in town that day. So
on bicycles.
On bicycles. If you talk about a town of 10,000 with 25,000 bicycles more, it's an awesome, you can't even really picture it. There'll be times when you can't back out of your driveway because there'll be so many vehicles. So as a convenience issue for the people along the route and a safety issue, we're just asking that for that busy part of the day that they park their car on the side street and walk, or park and walk, or ride a bike, and join the celebration.
Yes, walk.
But when push comes to shove, we're using temporary barricades that can be moved so that if someone has an emergency, be it a fire, be it a need for an ambulance, we can get services to those people. The one part of the route that we're being pretty particular about is from Highway 1 over to the middle school along Fillmore. That part of the route we're going to be closed off pretty tightly because we've got all the bicyclists coming in and then all the bicyclists going out that are going downtown or going to Chautauqua Park. And so for that one area, we're going to be closing that off pretty tight.
So that is Fillmore from Highway 1 to the middle school.
Yes.
Okay.
I did forget to tell you that all my buses will go to the hospital if anybody needs it.
But it's not on the route.
No, it's not on the route.
It will
if it's an injury that you don't call an ambulance for, let's say somebody sprained their wrist or sprained their foot, they'll just get on the bus and we'll bring them directly to the hospital.
And we do have a medical center set up at the middle school, correct?
Right.
Okay, Don, what has your involvement been in RAGBRAI?
For the most part, I've worked with Jerry, public safety. I was involved in the original route planning. As different as from the past years, thanks to Jerry and his committee, we're not going to have officers on the corners, which really ties up the force so that we can't do anything else, and we really appreciate that. So for the most part, we're going to help supervise. We have 6 officers that routinely do a bike patrol, and obviously they will be on bikes that day.
They will be on bicycles.
The easiest way to get around. And one of them will be assigned to go from the information center to the edge of town and to help anybody that's on any of the corners or answer questions or anything that needs to be done. So that's our original involvement. And then of course as the day evolves it gets more complicated. But we're going to have officers at the campgrounds to assist that committee to in an orderly fashion to get people in, to give information, and of course to provide security for possessions. We're going to have probably about 8,000 to 10,000 campers at the middle school. I went to
That's overwhelming. 8,000 to 10,000.
It really is, and I don't think people realize what 10,000 to 15,000 people on the north side of our square is really going to be like. I don't think there's any concept of just consider that if everybody in town went to the square at one time, that's basically what it's going to be, plus a few more. So it's going to be quite a project.
And you do have officers in the beverage garden?
Yes, we're going to have 4 officers at least 4 officers at all times in there to assist with IDing people as they come in. Also, should there be any problems that arise, that they will be right there. A good number of our officers will be on the square during the activity, so we'll have people available. Obviously, part of the problem is getting to where you need to go with that many people, but we'll try to
crawling,
do that
maybe.
as best we can. I did visit Atoma Indian Hills and spoke with the criminal justice students over there, and I got 17 of them to volunteer to come over and help us with security in the campgrounds. So that's going to help us quite a little bit.
That's a great idea.
We're going to try to provide four-wheelers and golf carts to get around with, and we have the bulk of those students that'll be here in the afternoon. We'll have 6 or 8 of them will be here during the day to assist our officers. We will have obviously officers at the campgrounds at all times. That'll give us communications and also provide security. There are some very expensive bicycles and possessions that need to be secured in those locations. So, and the officer that's in charge of the campgrounds that will during the day stay around the information center as much as possible to give assistance there, and again, that'll help us with communications, I think. So.
And at the fairgrounds, they are very organized out there. And
they really seem to be. I spoke with Ken this morning, and I'm going to meet with him, I think, tomorrow night. They have enlisted the assistance of the Washington County Reserve to help them with security there. We will provide an officer during the morning hours to help them as the campers come in and help them place them, and work with the Washington County Reserve the rest of the time, but for the most part they've provided for their own security.
That's good planning, and that helps you out, so that's great.
Yeah, and I would take this opportunity to ask the people of Fairfield to cooperate with us, not only along the route, but there are going to be many inconveniences, if you want to look at it that way, but we hope that people will get involved and understand that this is quite an event, and not look at it as an inconvenience, but as an opportunity to meet a lot of interesting people and to get involved. And hopefully a lot of people that now are wondering, well, what am I going to do that day? I can't go anywhere because of all the bikes. Well, that'd be a good time to volunteer.
Yes.
To do something, rather than to sit at home and what meant the fact that you can't get to the grocery store, well, maybe go to the grocery store the day before and then volunteer for
Take part.
Take part. That's how it'll be fun, if everybody takes part.
I think so too.
But we are going to need everybody's help. Obviously, with that many people, we're going to have some concerns. All of our officers are going to be working. We'll be working probably at least 12-hour shifts. I plan on being there the whole time, so come Saturday morning I might be a little groggy, but
hard to find too.
I feel like it's my responsibility to be available, so and hopefully everything will go well.
Well, thank you. And like we said at one meeting, this is something that you didn't get asked or volunteered to do. This is something that's a part of your job, so thank you very much for that.
Yeah, this is one thing, and I enjoy the spirit of the committee chairman and things that through all these meetings, people like Dean with camping and myself with law enforcement, that's something we do almost every day, obviously on a much accelerated level for that day, but forgive us if we're not quite as excited as some of the other people, because it does present many problems, but we'll get the job done, and when we need assistance, I'm sure that we'll get it. So.
Okay, thank you. So we want Fairfield to be patient that day, take part and join in the fun, and help us show our pride. Is there anything else, volunteers you would like to mention that have been helping? I know, Jerry, you said you had several.
I had 3 on my committee that have really helped me a lot. Ben Thomas and Sarah Cochran and John Rathbun. And they've been really faithful about getting to our committee meetings and helping come up with good ideas to solve problems.
Okay.
And I have Bev Grogan as my assistant. She and I are my committee. And Bev does drive a minibus for 1015, so she's quite knowledgeable also. And that is where we are renting the minibuses from. So I will also have a conveyance that day, plus some communication, so I can call these guys, I suppose, plus the buses. So you can get me probably going up and down the street someplace.
We'll see you somewhere. And something I've said before is that it's so nice to have all the committee chairmen are such experts in their area. Jerry, you've been wonderful And Vivian, you seem to have such a handle on the shuttle route and organizing all this, and just every committee chairman, you know why they're a committee chairman, because they are an expert and so organized and getting everything together. We have some signs that were delivered today by Jim Green. You might be seeing some of these around. This is the bike shop sign. These will locate the bike shops that will be in the middle school area, the information area. The bike shops travel with RAGBRAI, and you can imagine with that many bikes why they need a bike shop. A lot of flat tires. Then we also have delivered today the RAGBRAI 25 officially licensed vendor signs. These will be located at the vendor booths, and I'm assuming they'll have signs for non-food vendors. So everything should be identified, and myself, I'm on the sign painting committee, and we are still welcoming sign painters. We're trying to keep everybody informed on where they're supposed to go. We also have, of course, the t-shirts, the RAGBRAI Fairfield t-shirts, 25th on the 25th, showing our pride to the ride. And on the back, the great design featuring Grandpa RAGBRAI and Chuck Offenberger. Everyone should get one of these when they can. Volunteers, it'll be encouraged that they'll be wearing these that day, help identify you, get you around town. We also have one other special item here, and this is a replica or the original design for the large bicycle that Mike Carlson has designed. That is, the real one is 30 foot or 32 foot by 18 foot tall, and this will be located at the Fairfield Middle School Information Center, and I'm not sure if people will be able to get there to see it or not. Maybe if he installs it a few days beforehand. And we'll be doing a special show on FPAC just on this bicycle. This particular replica will be at the Noisy Goose Cafe, and I understand there'll be a drawing for this. If you'd like to participate, stop in the Noisy Goose and take a look at it. And see if you can win it. What a great souvenir of RAGBRAI 25.
Especially when there's a huge one that's a replica of it.
Yes, and I'm not sure what will happen to that one. If anyone needs a lot of PVC pipe. I've heard that it took a lot of it to make. So we would like to thank you for watching Fairfield 25th on the 25th, and don't forget to volunteer.